So I stayed with the OSS in Washington, and we were doing a lot of studies. And part of the studies that I was doing at that time, we figured that somewhere along the line, the war, of course, the war is going to end, and maybe we'll do something about these Nazis over there. So on our own, a group of us there started studying war crimes. The war ended. The president appointed Justice Jackson to be chief prosecutor, and he appointed a friend of his to become associate chief prosecutor, a General Wild Bill Donovan. Donovan was the head of the OSS. Took us, this group, and we became the nucleus of the Nuremberg trial. There was no Nuremberg at the time. There was the nucleus of the war crimes trial. And so we went, we studied, and I went over to Paris, and there we would a group already had started up, and we stayed in Paris while they were looking for a place to have a trial. But why did they take Nuremberg? And it said Nazi Party headquarters. So we figured, this is why they're doing it, right across the street from that party. I led the first group of 13 people from Paris flying into Nuremberg, and 15 minutes later, Colonel Robert Story followed right behind me. He and I had offices right opposite each other, Colonel Story, and we were the only two on the floor at the time. And the telephone, they were setting the telephone ringing. He would run down this end and I would ride down the other one trying to answer the phones, you know. And that's how I happened to get to Nuremberg. It was absolutely destroyed. This was in the old town. And the outside, they originally had walls around it. They're destroyed. It was rubble. It was all rubble. There was nothing to see.
What's Colonel Robert's story like?
I thought he was God. I was chief of the field branch and the documentation division. You know, there were two divisions there. There was the interrogation division and there was a documentation division. Interrogation were the lawyers who were preparing the case. With the documentation was finding the documents for the trial. I was the boss, and we had 4 big documentation collection centers, besides where stuff was buried all over Europe, and I had maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 people working for me. They would all outrank me. They were any majors and whatever it was, and captains, and I was only a lieutenant. And I worked with the people in the field and the attorneys. I told them out there what we need. Told the lawyers what came in. Gave it to them. They told me what they were short on. I was a quarterback. That's really what I was there. About a month before the trial began, a few of us were sitting around and saying, look, we got all these documents, you know, the defense have nothing. What they're going to do is they're going to try to slow this trial down. They're going to challenge this document, they're going to challenge that, they're going to challenge something else. What are we going to do? How are we going to get around that? I don't know who it was, came up with the idea. He says, you know something? Are there many documents that they really could help them? Maybe could we offer them the choice of going around to the document centers?
Right.
So I said, we'll find out. I contacted all of my guys, and I said, is there much evidence there? They said, nah, let them come. Yeah. So it was turned over. They said, yes, you can go also. And then they had a chance of looking at documents, and that's where they got their documents. But when the case started and the judges was asking questions, it must have been Jackson who may have answered, what are you going to do about documents? And he explained exactly how we got it, where we got it, how it was done, where it was sent, you know, everything. I can go back a little bit on that. What we did and how we got it, and these are how the documents are, and we abide by them. They are 100% good. So the justices then turned to the defense and they said, "Do you have any objection?" And the defense said no, because they now had the documents from us.
Right.
And so no problem. As a result, we were free. We were home free to start putting in whatever documents we had. That night also was a big party night.
Yeah, yeah.
We won the trial that night. Right. The French, they had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And they'd come to me and say, "Look, could you help us out? I have nothing." So I'd give them 200 documents here. That's how they got their paperwork. They had nothing, but very nice. So we did interface with them.
What about the Russians?
Zippo.
Yeah.
Von Ribbentrop.
Yeah.
He was being questioned at the time. Unshaven. He was wearing a jacket that was torn and around. The great Von Ribbentrop, what he looked like. And when I came into the room, he saw me. He got up straight, clicked his heels, and "Good morning, Herr Leutnant." And I felt, gee, look at, who am I? I'm only a kid. And that's the reception that I got from Ribbentrop. I was curious about them. Some of them were bastards. Some of them, maybe they were just doing their jobs. John Harlan Amon.
Yeah.
Hated him.
Yeah.
He was John Harlan Amon, and he was... So it just rubbed us the wrong way. One other man who was like, and he was the American judge.
Biddle.
Francis Biddle. Parker. Parker was the greatest guy around.
Yeah.
We would meet with him after dinner, if we stayed in a hotel, and he would story after story after story. Oh, he was fun. He was the evening's entertainment. Great guy. There was a man in Switzerland who had film of the Warsaw Ghetto, right? The burning of the Warsaw Ghetto, and he wants to sell it to us for $100,000. Well, we wanted those films, and $100,000 at that time was a lot of money. He said he's going to go get those films. George went up there. He met the fellow in Switzerland. They exchanged film and exchanged money, and then, from what I was told, George bopped the guy in the head or something with a gun, grabbed the film and ran.
No kidding.
And he got to the OSS. He ran. Where's he going to go? He went to a house, an OSS house. He was an OSSer to begin with. He went to OSS, and he stayed there until we were able to bring him back. And then when he came back to Nuremberg, we had a party. That's the film. If you ever see a little kid with his hands. I think I have a picture of that.
Yeah.
Him.
Very famous.
That George Demas was part. That was he got that film. Oh yeah, no, it was historic. I thought it was historic. In fact, the whole trial was based on history. Let's say there was a trial, the persecution of the Catholics. We had a Protestant deliver the opening salvo on that. When there was the persecution of the Jews, the case of the persecution of the Jews, we had a Catholic present that, so that there should be no Jew would present that one, So it was particularly designed that way, so that this, for history, people should see that this was an open trial, that we were doing it that way.